Why did Twitch chat get disconnected? Alright, we're back. Hee ha. Where's the music? Here's the music. We are here. We are here. We are here. We are here. Alright, let's scroll up to everything from the 25th. And get ready to read. Hi, Light. Hi, Frog. How goes it? Pancake. Stinky, Freya. Stink cake. Hi, CJ.
Hello.
Hello, Raccoon or Balios or whatever you want me to call you on Twitch. I don't know.
Electric chair man.
I'm getting a kick out of the OCSN, like, Balios posting about electric chairs all the time and Freya just being like, oh!
Yeah.
You got a Spider-Man signal
Guilt trip
protector?
much?
Cool. Hi, Strawberry. 7 stream streak. Let's go. Oh, you get doubloons for that. That's cool. I apologize for how I look. I'm still kind of sick today, but it is what it is. We're gonna get right into it. Connecting to chat. Why is it disconnected? Where did my camera go? There I am. I am very cozy in my big onesie thingy. Half of a onesie because my toes are sticking out. Well, not really. It's like my legs. It's like a hoodie. It's not a onesie. I don't know why I called it a onesie. Thank you, Frog. Alright, we are just gonna get right on into it because I want to get done so I can hang out with Virgil because he had a very stressful day. So.
Hi, Mika. Oh, no.
Mika! Why are you called HP Omen 45L Gaming Desktop?
Check the Winds of Amnesia.
Oh my god. They're making a PC cult.
What? Hold on. You see this shit. Being Virgil and seeing what he... Panorama RTX 5080 24 core Ultra. What the hell? Get out of here, Panorama RTX 5080 24 core Ultra. I have a 4070. Does that count? Am I part of the cult?
Yep. Yes. You just have to change your nickname to
No, I'm not doing that.
Aww. I wanted to come here and like freaked out because of that. Alright, say good night, chat.
Alright, we're gonna... Are you leaving?
Bye.
Yep. That's funny.
There
Alright.
she goes.
The Tricentennial Man Part 2. Here we go. Oh, let me turn on my captions. I think I forgot last time. Earth, Kovacs household, 625-2151. Today was a big day. So big that Cameron actually woke up before 9 a.m. Not because he wanted to, though. There were numerous pre-flight checks and procedures that required his presence, and they all had to be done before noon. He quickly got dressed and heated up some leftover pasta. Even he knew better than to leave without some kind of breakfast. Roxy and Lily were both sleeping in. They'd made arrangements to be off work and school for today. He ate the pasta with a specific brand of haste, slow enough to breathe but fast enough to be at the door before 6. And out the door he was, ready to face the day ahead of him. His legs began to twitch. His muscles began to tense. His breathing became labored. Earth, Cam's office, 625, 2151. All I guess this is, I should be reading the times. 11:26. All pre-flight examinations were successfully completed ahead of schedule. Cam sat down in his chair and, as if on cue, Lily came bursting into her dad's office. She ran into his arms as her mother also walked into the office. They both came to visit him before they went to their viewing spot. "Good morning, Mr. Rocket Man," said Roxanne as she made her way towards him. Lily let go of her father, turning over possession to her mother, who promptly pulled Cam up to her lips. Cam thought to himself that this kiss was particularly long and passionate, a sign that told him a part of her was still worried that something would go wrong. He tried to reassure her plenty of times, but there was no use fighting it now. The three of them spent the next few minutes exchanging their various affections, and then he saw the two of them off to the viewing platform. It was time for him to get prepped. 1 hour remained. A cold sweat enveloped him. A dull pain gathered in his head. That was the last time he ever saw those two. Oh. Cam lore is so sad.
These bros are locked in on this.
Yeah. Alright, we have another Divinity Obscenity thing. Is this actually gonna mean anything?
Oh god.
Gotcha now. Wait a minute! This does have to do with Wardens. This is Glitch, isn't it? God damn it, I knew it. I didn't know it. I thought it was Balios.
Are you sure it's Glitch? I don't know.
That's a Warden Scream thing. That's a Warden, like...
Yeah, there's multiple Wardens. I mean, I don't know. This doesn't really make sense for Glitch to do that. Especially because he was dissing on... English. They were dissing on Divinity and Obscenity. Like
well, she might have been, like, dissing on it just because, like, to throw people off, you know?
Yeah, but even then it would have been a little more obvious. She didn't do it heavily, but I don't know. It just doesn't feel right.
I don't know.
I
She did
do
say
understand
Okana was
why you're
active. This could be
getting at that.
Okana, like, thing. I don't know. I don't know. Okay,
Maybe.
something to do with Wardens. Is it you, CJ?
A new Warden. No.
Interesting. Okay. We have something from Truffle.
Hello. Is this thing on? Okay. It is. How do I begin this? Audio log number 1. I've made the decision that writing out journals every time I have something I want to record is a bit cumbersome. So I have switched over to audio logs. While I do feel quite a bit eccentric, simply speaking into the air here, it's a lot better than hurting my wrist every time, since it's typically a lot of... You know what? Never mind. Logs are meant to record something you might want to view at a later date, and so that is what I will do. Zenithra came back. They were missing for quite a bit, and I didn't know where they went. They said they went to a different universe. I didn't believe them at first, but they had a bunch of cuts and scrapes and fucking bullet grazes. Bullets.
I like the way you say bullets.
Of course, the most glaring injury they had was they had some weird acidic chemical all over their eyes, and they've gone blind. They can't see anymore. They still won't talk to me. I don't know why. I don't know what they might have seen or heard. I just wish I could get some kind of information about what happened, but it seems I'll simply have to be patient.
Second one?
In other news, I guess, I found out who was in my house. It was this person. His name is Chaos. He's a little bit terrifying in his own right, but he seemed kind. Not malicious, at the very least. We had a little chat over some tea, and he was very cryptic, but I think he is also someone who wishes to take Freya out of power. He only said neglectful goddess, but my memory's been feeling so foggy lately. It's like something is draining my energy, but I I do think he is referring to Lady Freya. I don't know who else he could be referring to. So I guess that's all well and good at the very least. Okay, fuck. Where's the manual? How the fuck do I... Okay. End log.
CapCut kills me. Interesting. I really want to know who this neglectful goddess is that isn't Freya.
I think it was mentioned before, like past lore, but
oh, maybe
I don't know.
I don't remember. We have the hospital meeting from Zenithra. Mention of gun use. Here we go. You might reveal more. It was Muka? Who's that?
I'm guessing that's the neglected god.
Yeah. I don't know who that is, though. Mika. Mika! Is like Mira?
Mika? Huh?
The neglectful... what are you saying, Truffle? Never mind? Okay. Alright, the hospital meeting. Everything felt overwhelming. The lights buzzed like flies inside my ears. The heart monitor beeped like it was yelling at me. The sheets I was laying on were thin like the paper I like to draw on, and the scratchy like the wood floors I used to get splinters on. Worst of all, I couldn't see. It was dark, but not black. When I reached up, something was covering my eyes. They felt kind of like extra thin fabric. I tore them off. Everything was blurry, and it hurt really bad to even open my eyes. I could only make out muted colors and extremely vague shapes. I waited and waited and waited and waited and waited and waited for my vision to adjust. This has to just be because I'm waking up and everyone's vision is weird in the morning, right? There were footsteps outside, and I pretended to be asleep because it was Truffle. I just couldn't look at them after what they had done. They soon left again. It was silent for a while, not exactly silent due to the overstimulating noise, but there were no new sounds. But then I heard some kind of whooshing sound right next to my bed. There was a dark red blob before it became a light gray. Who's there? I can hear you. My name is Chaos, young one. Chaos? Why are you gray? I think he chuckled before he spoke. Simply a result of the form I have taken on. Oh, well, do you know who brought me to, where I am, to be exact? I'm afraid I do not know who brought you here. You would have to ask Truffle. As for where you are, you're at the hospital, small one. Oh, I don't like Truffle right now. They're a bitch. Oh, child, please, perhaps you should refrain from saying that? Dear stars above, who even taught you that? What, bitch? Why it doesn't hurt anyone? Bitch, bitchy bitch. Sounds like Freya. Kid, just know, you are far too young to be saying that. Think of it like a grown-up word, and once you're grown up enough, you can use it. If you use it all the time when you're so young, it won't be fun to say when you're older. Fine. I then mumble one more bitch under my breath. Do you want to talk about what happened? He laughed. You went into another universe. There simply must be stories to tell. Oh, well, in that case, I got to learn swordsmanship, and how to do it with just sounds, and what a gun sounds like, and how to tell when and where someone will shoot based on sound. He didn't speak for quite a while. You learned all that? But you're still so young. Too young. You barely know how to spell, and yet you need a long rest. I already slept, though, and I'm not sleepy. You don't have to sleep to get rest. Fine. I slowly relaxed my body, realizing how sore it is and how nice and weird it feels to relax. Do you want to tell me what happened now? With Truffle? I found out they're probably the reason my mama is gonna not come back. I see. I'm guessing you're having a lot of conflicted feelings about this. Whoever this chaos person, can we hire them as, like, Solace's therapist? This is actually pretty good. Of course I do. As much as I want to trust them for taking care of me, they're the reason she's gone, and I can't trust someone who does that. He went silent for a bit after I said that. Do you know if Truffle intentionally made your mother go away? Perhaps more importantly, how it would change how you feel? No, they still did it. I don't care if it was an accident. Very well then. I cannot change your opinions, nor will I attempt to. However, I can advise you to do a little introspection, thinking about why you think the way you do. The gray turned into dark red again and then into nothing. The man named Chaos was gone. For real, hire him as a therapist, please. Unless that's maybe a bad idea. I don't know anything about this, this person. A needed hospital
that might
visit.
be a good attitude.
A lot of hospital stuff. The hospital's like a hot spot for lore.
Yeah.
The hospital was still in the middle of the rebuilding process when Lux arrived for their meetings with Magos. For now, the lobby had been moved away from the damage, but fortunately Magos' office remained structurally sound. It was surprisingly small, with books and papers piled up on the desk. Though, after all the incidents of the last few weeks, a bit of messiness wasn't the biggest issue the hospital faced. Very wise grandpa? Oh, then perfect. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me, Lux began. I won't keep you long from your work, but this issue can only be answered by yourself. The doctor nodded. They weren't sure if he had just happened to be tired or if he naturally had a sullen look to him. I assume you're here for Okul? Yes, I know it has been a struggle for your team, but the other judges and I are grateful for your continual professionalism while she recovered. Would you say she is ready to be removed from care at this point? She would have been, he admitted, if a certain employee of mine hadn't acted like a boxer during her shift. Oh, that would explain his tiredness. I would hope she is no longer permitted access to the room. He gave them a look. Of course, we are a hospital after all. A bit blunt, but they could appreciate him going straight to the point. I will not allow any employee to harm a patient under my supervision. I see, turning the conversation back to the main topic, they asked. Assuming no other incidents occur, do you have an estimate on when we can retrieve Okul? I don't see why she would need to stay longer than the end of the week. The bruising may take longer, but she can manage some soreness on her own. That was good news at least. Very well then, we'll contact you about the details soon so we can transport her over to the jail without any unnecessary struggle. A scream ran through the halls. While Lux jerked in surprise, Magos only shook his head in resigned annoyance. My employees and I would appreciate if you could remove her as soon as possible, he sighed. We've grown tired of her daily tantrums. The office was too far from her room to make out what was being said, but they weren't curious enough to ask. I'll see what I can do, Lux agreed. Magos guided them out the door as the yelling continued. Yes, it was time for the court to convene and determine the future of the former general. I'm excited! And then we have Mission Act 2. Content warning for violence.
Hi, Comet.
Comet is here?
I joined at the right time.
Yes, right at the right time.
Hell yeah.
Oh god. So it is a trigger warning for violence in combat and
Body horror
Body
and
horror.
dehumanization. That just excites me right there.
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Here we go. The battle. It wasn't long until it was showtime. Everyone was gearing up in any way they saw fit. Obsivi was donning their dark suit of armor, helm obscuring their face. Feather was cleaning her guns and preparing her ammo. Cam was just finishing some last-minute tweaks. Sorry, I thought I heard Virgil yelling. Last-minute tweaks and fixes on the high-tech suit of armor he brought. And Comet was painting their body. Shouldn't they be preparing some form of armor or weapon? Cam whispered to Obsivi, just out of earshot of Comet. It's their ritual for battle, Obsivi responded, not bothering to whisper back. But what about armor? Feather added, resembling the gun in her hands. Obsivi nodded towards Comet. They've grown taller and more muscular since the launching of the ship. They've been preparing the whole time. I can hear you, Comet called back. And for the record, I do have a weapon. My axe. They turned towards the group, tying a red blindfold over their eyes. And my skin has been growing thicker as a preparation. It'll be harder to cut. That would have been useful when Eclipse attacked you, Cam remarked. Feather flinched. It takes a while to prepare. It can't just happen in a matter of seconds, and it comes with cost. Comet slung their axe over their shoulder. I need a drawing of this, by the way, ASAP. Besides,
I do have a drawing.
You
but
do
it's-
have a drawing?
It's not.
Hell yeah.
It's a drawing that's similar to what they would look. It's a
I
drawing
see,
of
I
what they
see.
would look like. It's not that specific battle, but
I see.
I'll send it to you in DMs.
All right, cool.
Maybe.
Besides, armor would just inhibit me when things go south. That's why I need you all to stay behind me. If you don't have armor, wouldn't that just mean we need to protect you? Feather added, standing up. You'll see, Obsivi responded, the chains around their forearms clinking. We're approaching Aurelian, preparing for descent, Dante called back. It's showtime, Cam said, putting away his tools. He stood up to join the others, steadying himself with the wall as the ship rocked and descended. All right, everyone, I'll be doing the talking. Follow my lead, Comet announced. Dante, keep the engines warm. Yes, General. Everyone get ready to push. The doors opened to bright sunshine and yelling guards scattering. Seems the courtyard landing was successful. Identify yourself, one particularly fearless knight yelled, pointing his halberd towards Comet. And in a blink of an eye, the weapon was ripped out of his hands as the much taller monster grabbed him, pressing their axe to his throat. Take me to your king, Comet hissed low into his ear, or I will slit your throat. With a yelp, the new hostage began to lead them to the receiving room. It was completely empty, which surely meant that the throne room itself was packed with guards protecting the king. This was going to be harder than I thought. Comet nodded to Obsivi, which took it as a cue to kick the heavy wooden door open, it splintering under her might. Heads turned as weapons were pointed at the group. Identify yourself, the king boomed, sat atop his throne. His face was muddled in bruises. I am Comet Auri... Please tell me if I butcher this, by the way. Comet Auri Corianri?
Ori Corianri.
Corianri. Thank you. General of the Arum Empire, Prophet Terua, vassal?
Yes.
Yeah, vassal to Lady Freya on behalf of the Solpak Union.
I told you about this part.
Yeah, this is... yeah,
Here.
Freya'd be like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Why not?
It's
I'd be
just
like, I don't know what
Comet
that means, but
bullshitting their
yeah,
way
sure.
through hostage negotiation, like...
Yeah. Return Prince Bob to us, or we will... Prince Bob. Or we will slaughter your castle. Their voice thundered, filling the room. What? That whelp is a prince? He attempted assassination twice. His voice grew with anger. He's due to be executed. What the hell did Bob get us into? Comet thought. Do you really want to face an interplanetary incident? You'll be feeling the wrath of the Solpak Navy if you do not return him right this instant and unharmed. The king scoffed. The Solpak Navy has never done anything for us. Why should we be scared of them? This is your last chance before we slaughter your guards, Comet's voice echoed, growing grittier, starting to turn into a snarl. This is your last chance to leave and save yourselves, they added, addressing the guards. Some of them began to edge near the broken door. Detain them, the king yelled. Execute them alongside that devil. The forces began to converge on them, but Comet only struck once. The first blow landed on them. Then all hell broke loose. Feather's bullets connected with the shiny metal heads of the knights as they fell to the ground. Obsivi's chains wrapped around the necks of the enemies, and Cam's blasters erupted hellfire. And in the chaos of battle, Comet seemed to be at home. With a heavy swing of their axe, they peeled back the shells of their enemies and exposed their soft insides. With each attack, they grew darker and more unrecognizable. They pressed forward as they felled their enemies, and the others followed suit. When Obsivi would restrain an enemy with a chain, Cam or Feather would follow it up with a bullet. Even with the beast that was Comet on the front line... Ah! Sorry, jump scare. A few slipped through the cracks. A pair of hands grabbed the barrel of Feather's gun as a particularly brave knight began to try and wrestle it away. She whipped it around violently, trying to shake him off to no avail. In a moment of desperation, she grabbed the nearest item, a lit candelabra, and brought it down with such a force that the crack echoed throughout the room. He dropped like a fly. Cam followed it up with a blast to ensure that he remained down, but when he turned back, he had to duck as a weapon whizzed past his head. A halberd. These guys are idiots, he muttered to himself as he grabbed the abandoned projectile as he launched forward, connecting the sharp point at the seam of the suit of armor that threw it. Comet turned towards him, just as Obsivi's chain sword wrapped around his arm and yanked him back, as Comet swung with such force at the point where he had just been a moment before. Stay behind, Obsivi hissed in his ear as she unwrapped him. Remember your orders. She resumed behind Comet, pressing closer and closer to the armory and the dungeon. Cam faltered for a moment in a daze before he was brought back to reality by someone charging him. With a swift strike, the enemy was brought down. Comet kicked the door of the armory in, sending splinters flying. Any remaining guards had fled, lest they face the wrath of the eclectic army with its monstrous leader. And when they turned to face the others, their shoulders heaving as they breathed, it was only then that the others understood why the guards fled. Ribs had erupted from its abdomen, jutting out unnaturally, the gaping hole in its chest seemingly extending into infinity. The bones trembled slightly, reminiscent of teeth lining a gaping mouth in a snarl. And as for its real mouth, its tusks had grown. Worst of all, they were dripping blood. Red blood. Blood that was not its own. This is so badass. What was once a mostly humanoid being was now something else entirely. This is what I need Okul to sit in front of this and just absolutely like poop her pants.
Yeah.
was now something else entirely, something horrific, something that was not the person they knew. I can take it from here, the monster growled, deep and twisted, like something pretending to be human. Raid the supplies if you wish. That is your payment. It turned back before descending down the stairs to the dungeon. Jesus, Cam whispered. Is that... That can't be good. Did they eat someone? Feather whispered back. It's their true form, Ibzivi said calmly, unfazed. I'm going with them. I trust you to hold your own. Meet back at the ship in 45 minutes. And without elaborating, followed the monster into the depths. There was a period of silence where nothing was said before it was broken. Let's go raid the wine cellars, Feather said aloud. Sounds good to me. The rescue.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah. A little detail is the subtle pronoun shift from they
Yes.
to it.
Yes.
Yeah, I
love
noticed that. That's
So
awesome.
pronoun drop.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah. It's literally me. Joking.
All right, the rescue. Bob was pretty sure they reserved the dungeon cell specifically for him. It was particularly dreary, damp, and dark, a breeding ground for mold and rot, something that would destroy books. It was small and cramped, and the only connection he had to the outside was through the barred wall. No windows, nothing. At this point, he was running out of hope. He knew that he was sentenced to die, and he knew that the kingdom preferred to serve justice swiftly and without delay. Did Comet even get the message? That line of thinking was interrupted by a loud ruckus outside. He was familiar with the knights and nobles' footsteps, but these were different. Could it actually be? There was no more time for him to think as the prison warden rushed over, clearly trying to mask his panic. He fumbled with his keys, unlocking the door. Good news, you devil, your execution has been moved up. Bob smiled. What are you smiling about? The dungeon keep barked as he yanked Bob's shackles, bringing him outside of confinement for the first time since his capture. You're scared. There was a sharp crack as the captor brought his club down onto the back of Bob's head, sending him stumbling. I don't care that you're a prince, the warden spat. You're not making it out of here alive. He shoved the prisoner along the corridor. A prince? Bob smirked. He could play that role. He stood up straighter. I see. You're scared of my knights. He stumbled as he was shoved again. Pick up the pace. You're trying to stall your death. And quiet before I split your skull. Why should I listen to the likes of you? Bob's voice echoed in the long hallway. I'm not the one that's going to die. Another loud crack as the weapon hit his head, sending stars floating across his vision. Shut the hell up, you bastard. This time Bob felt his arms twist as the dungeon keep pulled the chain attached to his shackles. He winced in pain. They didn't say what state they wanted you in for execution. How about I break your bones? The warden continued pulling the chain, up, and up, sending blinding pain as Bob's shoulders cried for mercy. And then it stopped. Why did it stop? Bob turned his head to see a hulking form grasping the wrists of the captor so tightly that he cried out in pain before dropping the chains. Another being, much smaller this time, dashed forward and pulled Bob away from the enemy. Only then did Bob truly understand what was happening. It worked, he whispered. The warden was lifted off from the group effortlessly as he cried out. He was lifted up to face the snarling and hungry mouth. There was a moment where the room tensed, palpable with fear that there would be one less head attached to the shoulders when it was over. Instead, the smaller being tackled Bob flat into the rough cobblestone floor. Bob lifted his head only slightly just as the man who was bringing him to his execution was sent flying above before roughly landing yards away in a pile. Comet? Bob said as the being stepped closer, becoming illuminated by the limited torchlight. It bent down and ripped the chains off of the shackle. Can't do much about the cuffs right now. We'll cut them off when we get back to the ship. The voice grumbled. Better late than never. Absolute cinema.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and then I sent you the photo of the. It's not the
Oh,
specific
hell yeah.
moment, but it is the form of.
Awesome. That's so cool.
It's kind of old, but a little bit old, but yeah.
All right.
Also,
Absolute cinema.
I will announce that the mission is supposed to be coming back tonight. I just had a flare up, so I'm not
no
able
worries.
to finish writing. But they're supposed to be coming back tonight, and there will be a flashback of the actual alcohol heist, which is really funny. But yeah, I just wanted to come and see your reactions.
Hell yeah. That was fantastic.
Awesome.
All right.
All right.
Try comment.
From Lux, we have Shaping the Future. The sun was setting when Lux felt it again for the first time in over 6 long years. They were out on their dock, the only sounds coming from the waves and insects. The breeze gently brushed against their skin as they relaxed during the brief reprieve from work. Perhaps that was why they didn't notice the gentle nudge on the edge of their perception as it slowly eased across their base. By the time they were aware enough to feel it, it was more akin to pins digging into their skin. They immediately shot up, guiding the message around their arm and allowing it to consolidate back into a form they could understand. As much as they suspected, their people had heard about Solace. It had hurt to have no sign of their continual existence. Lux had tried to follow the ship's trail, but their people knew how to avoid notice from even their own. Even with the message, no device on Solace would be strong enough to pick it up, and even if there was, only Lux's people would be able to decode it. Before the divide, other species had described it as a form of song that only the Nocti were evolved to hear, but at the moment they would have described it as an advanced form of nagging. Of course, Iris, of all people, had to become leader. Much as they tried, the mental list of all family and friends that should have led before her filled their mind. All of them would have included a message of relief that Lux had been found in addition to their instructions. Instead, all they could feel was the urge to remain passive. Wait, wait, wait. Iris had probably seen everything Lux had done. Their base, a beacon growing in the dark, their interactions with the people of Solace, and the changes they had put into place. They were never the patient one, a trait that Iris had hated even when they were children. Lux wished there was a way to send a message back, to tell their people that they missed them, that they hadn't meant to arrive home too late. But they couldn't stop now, not when so many people were left scared and defenseless. Iris must not forgive them, but they couldn't find it in them to care. Lux had almost forgotten about their correspondence with the Frostfire faction when a letter from Krufik finally arrived in the mail. That wasn't to say that the incidents didn't remain at the forefront of their mind, but there was only so much they could do for a faction that seemingly wanted to pretend they had never been cast in a bad light. They didn't expect the contempt flowing from the message, the words linked together in such an illogical manner that Lux could barely parse any meaning from them. They weren't sure how Krufik could blame the attacks on the incompetence of Solace while claiming that Frostfire only needed to protect itself, but she certainly found the entitlement to write it. If that had been the end of the letter, Lux would have written them off and focused on other matters, but her last words were too intriguing for them to ignore. If you doubt my abilities, I would love to show you them. It is not a threat, but a promise. Moshni gods are not to be underestimated. It was as fake as the rest of the letter, but that didn't mean they weren't curious to see those so-called abilities. And besides, Krufik couldn't deny she'd invited them. Of course, Lux would make sure Mira was notified. She was gone at the moment, but they left a note in her office. Once they were back at their desk, they pulled out some parchment and began. Dear Faction Leader Krufik. Dear Princess Celestia. Very interesting. All right. Balios runs.
Oh god, here we go.
Oh my gosh. Hi, Violence.
Hey,
Hi,
guys?
Violence.
So guys.
Hey.
We have 2 videos.
My bad. I have your streaming like loud in my background. My bad. Hold on.
Why isn't my YouTube thing working?
Maybe you're just not doing it
Here
right.
we go. Are you trying to rage bait me?
What? What? No. When do I ever rage? I would never.
How dare you make such an assumption?
Correct. Yeah. Anyways.
Alright, we are sitting back.
Hi, Light. Like the statue?
Oh, hi, Frog. Yeah, I'm just worried about Quan.
Why?
Some things happened at the hostel, and he escaped in the chaos.
Oh, the chaos.
I've been looking for him. I probably should go and look for him.
Can I help look for him?
Yeah, you're more than welcome to.
Okay. Oh, there's Drax.
What is that horse doing?
Seems like Drax wants to help us.
Hi.
Aw. Hi, Drax.
Hello.
What are you doing here?
I feel as though if I touch him, he may bite me.
Oh, he won't bite you. He's a friendly guy. All right. Where did you last look for Kron?
I was checking the marketplace over there.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna go further, more over there, really,
Oh, okay.
since he can come over there.
Okay, let's start looking over there. How do we get there? Over there from here. Oh, okay, just hop over this then. Don't hurt your legs.
Yeah.
Don't do the same thing I did.
I don't
Forever to
necessarily
heal.
feel my legs, so
Huh?
I don't feel my legs. So
Oh, Drax is trying to lead the way. Okay, let's stick closer together. I don't exactly feel good here. Especially since HOE is pretty close, I think, right?
I would suppose.
Um,
Hmm.
There's just a bunch of water. I don't think I'm kind of too scared to go that way because of HOE. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't
Then,
think he would go this way.
yeah, maybe I could come back and check on my own later.
Maybe not by yourself. Maybe with somebody who's
I'll be fine.
stronger than
I'll be fine. No, I'll
Me?
be fine. Trust me.
okay. Just don't get hurt, okay?
So where is this? Okay. I checked that area. I can't go there again because I will get attacked. Where else would he go? Where else would he go? Where else?
You have 3 jobs?
Yeah.
3 of them.
Yeah.
Girl. When do you take a break?
Never.
Oh my god. Okay, well,
It's getting called
I
out.
would shoot you into.
maybe.
Roy?
Okay, well.
Hmm?
Roy?
Hi.
Oh,
Hi.
Hey.
hi, Frog.
You wanna come down
Hi,
here?
hello. Yeah, hello.
Hey.
Oh, I'm slow. Hold on. Hi.
Hi,
Are you looking for Kron?
yeah, I am.
Oh,
They
yeah.
aren't anywhere that they're supposed to.
Oh.
So,
We looked in the
Mhm.
swamp behind this place, so I guess there's
yeah,
no use looking there.
no, there is a certain area I still need to check, but I need to search larger areas before I go into specifics. That's sort of why I'm here. I don't know. I started getting a bit desperate. What are you two doing here? Is everything
We're
okay?
just walking by.
Kron.
And Light has 3 jobs! A whole 3 of them!
I am aware.
Why?
I am aware.
I like helping out people.
I probably should get back to
Oh.
looking for him.
Okay, well, we wish you luck.
All right. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
You too. Where do you want to go next? Or do you think we should keep looking? Because, I don't know, Croy is still...
Probably go to the hospital.
Your second
You
job.
probably, yeah. You probably don't know, but did you see the hole in the roof of the hospital?
There's
Yeah.
a hole?
Yeah.
What?
Apparently, Belios happened.
Belios? Oh my
Yeah.
god. Why does he have everything? Everything that happens.
Well, I don't know. It just happened to him. Would you like to visit him?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I
Yeah.
do want to visit him.
Okay, let's go.
Oh my gosh, that hole is huge.
Yeah. It's probably rough on the inside. It is.
Oh. And he did. How did he do this? Drax, I don't think you can be in here. It's not. It's like a safety concern at this point. Please go back.
He
It's okay. Just, I don't know. Imaginary, eat some grass.
Frog,
Yeah.
isn't that time to mention that Truffle also went splat during that?
Truffle went splat.
Yeah. Belios landed on Truffle and I just went splat.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's just go
Okay.
up.
I'm surprised like more than half the hospital didn't kaboom.
I'm surprised too. Hi, Valios. Hi, Valios.
Hi, Light. Hi,
my
Frog
bad.
Leg.
Hi. You seem very cheery.
Why the fuck is there a horse?
You. Drax is just. Drax, go back outside, okay? Are you okay?
I'm perfectly fine.
Are you?
Are you sure?
I mean, I flatlined a couple hours ago, but I'm perfectly
You're
fine.
Flatlined?
Yeah,
What do you mean you're flatlined? How long are you dead? Huh?
it was only like a couple minutes, and then I just kind of like woke back up.
What do you mean? No!
It's okay, this happened with Okul too. Apparently people can just flatline and come back normal.
No,
And
no,
angry,
no,
but it
no,
seems like he came out
no,
happy.
at all. You flatlined?
Yeah,
Make him poor
I'm
Light
very
a heart
happy.
attack.
Yeah, he's happy.
it also might be the anesthesia, but you know.
That's true, but like, you look fine.
Has no one else come in to see you at all during that time? I should have been setting off alarm. Oh, any of the other
I'm-
nurses?
Hold on, did you flatline by yourself? Like nobody came to help you?
Yeah, I just kind of went to sleep.
Oh!
Woke
Oh, I
up a
see.
couple hours
Oh!
minutes later.
Oh!
No,
Like, I don't know the number for Magos. You can call him on that.
I don't know the number
Thing.
of Magnus either. I just leave Nelson's office. I hate them
Oh.
weeds.
Well,
Oh.
I think you need to go to bed.
No.
Yes.
Light is
well,
crashing
I
out.
can't force
No.
a grown man to sleep.
Yeah.
So.
No,
No,
Valios.
no, 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 Valios.
Wrong way, wrong way.
Valios, please, come back. You can't run from everything, dude.
I can't run. I can't.
Dude,
Wee.
Valios.
Wee,
Valios, please.
Oh my god.
wee.
Valios, quit it. Why does he always run
No.
from hospitals after being either... Dude,
Oh, I'm fast.
you're not in your right mind. Again.
Really? What's going? Oh my god. Okay. Damn it. I saw you on the kid. Why are you running? What's going on?
We're running after Balios because he keeps going at places that he shouldn't. We need to get back to the hospital.
What? Why is that so? I thought you were dying. What's going on?
My home.
I have never heard water so flabbergasted in my life.
Places that he shouldn't. We need to get back to the hospital.
What? Why is that so? I thought you were dying. What's going on?
My home.
Okay.
It was so funny hearing that being recorded. I was trying so hard not to laugh.
Is that...
This is so bad. Wait. I'm so confused why he like stabbed himself.
That's how water travels. He has to injure himself in order to become water and travel between bodies of water.
Is that
Oh.
really what it?
That's so cool and
Really?
Yeah.
interesting. But like,
See, okay,
Yeah.
I've heard so much stuff about waters from waters themselves, and yet
Waters
I
is
still
so
don't know a
cool.
lot of things.
it's true.
I still don't know a lot
he
of things.
he has to injure himself in a way in order to travel through water.
God, it's
Usually
like
it has
Attack
to
on
draw
Titan.
blood.
Attack on Titan?
Ah!
No, hi Mika.
Oh, hi Mika.
I was summoned by the Attack on Titan.
Oh my gosh, you
What
aren't
happened?
junior lore helpers anymore. You're moderators.
We're moderators.
I'm a moderator.
Yeah.
Everyone's
You guys
gonna
should
feel
be-
my wrath.
Also, if
I was
anyone
gonna
needs
share-
training who's in
You've
chat,
already felt your
if anyone
wrath.
needs training for senior staff, after the stream is the time. Well, I'm gonna be training Bagel
After
if you
the
want to be
stream
trained
is
at
the
the
time.
same time. Alright, we have this 12-second
Okay.
thing. Myth says maybe.
Yippee yippee.
How does Balios even? No, I should go back to the hospital. Zenithra needs me.
Fastest arc in the West. Alright. Peak as always. Everyone make sure to go subscribe to Frog.
Frog.
Yes.
Like
Frog.
every
Frog
video.
to frog. They work so hard. Dude,
This-
the stabbing with
Bro, I
the
was
trident was so stressful. They were stressing out so much because they're
Bro.
trying to figure out how to get it working in like a flashback or whatever
Oh,
engine
yeah.
they use.
I said for yesterday's stream, right before yesterday's stream, I had to help Frog with like timestamps and stuff like that because they were just rushing through editing and stuff like that. I felt so bad. I was like, okay, let me help you real quick.
Yeah.
Every time they post something, they're always rushing a video.
I feel
Like
so bad.
nine times out of 10, every single video you watch was like rushed within a day.
Yo, no, they're like freaking Scott speed, bro. Frog, I don't know how you do it, bro. You know what? You deserve that content creator role. Just like with every single fiber you're being, bro.
It's so true. This video reminds me of those, like, what would happen if, like, the main character decided to just go home instead of, like, doing the, making
I
the
have a
decision
meme for
that...
this.
You have a meme for this?
Of course you do.
Yeah.
My fingers smell like turkey. I just got
Well
done in Thanksgiving. Sorry.
Oh.
I was thinking out loud. I'm sorry.
Well done. Your fingers smell like turkey.
My fingers smell like turkey. I just got done eating Thanksgiving early. Because tomorrow I'm going out of town.
All right.
But like,
Freya,
end
I'm gonna
of
send it on
June.
SMP General. Like, it's a meme that I have from like back 2020 COVID.
Oh dear lord.
Talk to you need to rest main character. Yeah, that's Belios right there.
That's it. That's every single character. We got Kron. We got Milius.
It's true. Okay. Sorry to everyone's eyes. Okay. This doc will contain minor body horror, blood fighting, Light getting electrocuted twice, threats of violence, and cursing. Apologize now, but the 9 pages of reading. It's okay. Alright. Pain shot through Light's legs. She did her best to ignore it in favor of keeping her focus on Belios. She opened her mouth to scold her brother figure when a sickly sweet smell. Light just about snarled when she caught the scent. Kathy's scent. She'd been itching to beat the shit out of that blasted spirit ever since she saw the green veins on Belios' face. She looked towards Belios and noticed that he had moved to the trapdoor that led towards his basement. She had to sneeze into her hand to muffle the noise. Light noticed that Belios had looked towards her. She waved him off. She watched her brother descend into the depths of his basement. She looked between Waters and Frog. Kathy is down there, she explained as she walked over, masking her pain with an expression of ice. Frog, find a hiding place once you get down the ladder and do not move. She looked up and looked Frog in the eyes, her expression serious to show the Frogger that she meant it. She looked over at Waters. She bit her cheek to keep from growling at the sight of the wound on his stomach. She turned away and climbed down the ladder. She took it one step at a time. Her ears twitched. She could hear Belios and Kathy already arguing. She reached the floor and slowly stepped off the ladder. She turned quickly, hiding a wince from Waters' gaze. She took a deep breath, sneezing again at the thick scent of sickly sweet poison. She walked up beside Belios and froze when she saw the ritual behind Kathy. Her eyes widened in horror, the feathers on her wings puffing up. While there was a twist to the spell, likely to make it easier for those on Belios' homeworld to use, she could recognize the base of the spell from anywhere. It had once been used upon her. Once. It's an effect she could still feel to this day. She snarled, her illusion slipping to reveal her mouth open wide, strips of flesh straining over holes. Strips of flesh straining over holes, bearing incredibly sharp teeth. Belios had to catch her before she attacked Kathy. She didn't really fight his hold. Her body still ached greatly from the run from the Keepers of Solace hospital to here. "How dare you?" she screamed, her voice shrill and broken with a heavy emotion even she couldn't place. Fear? Anger? Hate? "How fucking dare you? You dare use such a spell against Belios?" She growled low and loud. She itched to set the sigils on fire, but she didn't know how that would react with the spell. She blinked when Belios released her. She had barely heard their conversation. He was walking towards the spell, towards Kathy. Light felt panic rising within her, but stayed still, trusting that Belios would be all right. Light felt the magic in the room change, shifting towards Belios. That feeling again, she thought. The same one from when I was healing him. Godlike, and yet not quite there. Belios, what were you doing while you were gone? She looked at Kathy. Her eyes widened when she saw Kathy's true form as a young lady in a red dress. Light tensed when the portal opened and relaxed when Kathy disappeared. She shifted her gaze to Belios, a hint of worry in her eyes. She walked to Belios, or tried to at least. Her legs gave out from under her, finally giving up. Shit, she cursed as she fell to her knees. Light's ears twitched to the sound of Belios rushing to her side. She looked up and saw the worry in his eyes. Her ears lowered as a pang of guilt for making her brother worry. Light, are you okay? Belios asked. She nodded slightly. I'm all right, she said softly, her voice just slightly raspy from yelling at Belios the entire run to his house. My condition merely caught up with me. She glanced at the sigils left behind by Kathy and quickly looked away. She felt her stomach churn, but just remembering what a similar spell using the same base of magic had done to her. Pain. So much pain. Darkness, her screams bouncing off the walls of the cell, that cruel smile. Light shook her head sharply, forcing herself out of that thought process. She couldn't focus on that, not now. Her ears twitched. Footsteps. Her head snapped up. She saw a masked person with huge wings wearing a green cloak. She moved when they moved to attack Belios after looking around the basement. She pulled a hairpin out of her hair. It turned into a sword in her hands, and she brought it up to block the attack. A loud ringing clang echoed around the room. Her arms and legs screamed in protest, but she held her ground. Not my brother, you crazy bastard, she snarled, baring her sharp teeth at the stranger. Out of my way, woman, the stranger said. Light yelped in pain as the 2 spears slammed into a pillar. She dropped her sword, causing it to transform back into a hairpin. She gritted her teeth and tried to push against the spear. She saw the stranger getting close to Belios. Panic flooded through her, her ears lowering. She snarled and lifted her form into a dragon, slipping out of the spear's hold. She lunged at Zephyr, biting into his arm, sinking her teeth deep into it. Light shrieked from red lightning, shocked into her system. She let go of Zephyr and fell to the group, her vision blurring and unblurring as her body twitched uncontrollably. Everything grew muffled for a moment. The sounds of battle. Did Waters yell her name? Oh God, she made her dad worry. She whimpered as she struggled to stand. Her claws scraped the floor, making her slip and fall to her side. She slowly twisted herself to lie on her stomach. She looked up just in time to see Waters dart in front of her with a shield, blocking a lightning attack. She let out a cry of alarm, worried that her dad, her friend, had gotten hurt. She had guessed what had happened to him, what Timit had done to him, what Waters was made of now. Water is a damn good conductor of lightning. Her ears pinned back at the sound of gunshots. The loud sounds had snapped her out of her thoughts. She looked up and saw that Waters had shot at Zephyr. She shifted her gaze and caught Zephyr being stabbed in the leg by their own spear. She couldn't help but wince in sympathy. Gods above, that always hurts, Light muttered, knowing from experience how much being stabbed in the leg hurt. She slowly stood up. She let out a pained whine, but stayed standing. You act just like they said you would, the violent god, Zephyr groaned as he stood. Light's ears perked. Her head snapped up, curiosity making her pause. Like who said, Bertie? Belios said with a snarl. Light looked over at Belios. She couldn't help but chirp with worry when she saw her brother's claws dig into his hand, making him bleed. She wanted to run over and heal. Your gods, or what's left of them anyway. 3 of them dead, 2 of them injured, all because of you. Sethos said you'd cause chaos in the future. Never thought she meant the death of the lesser gods, Zephyr replied. Light's breath caught in her throat. Her eyes widened as her head snapped to Zephyr, then back at Belios. You worship the same man who killed them. And they aren't lesser gods. Lesser gods are the primordials that sit on their asses watching the chaos like it means nothing. Light let out a strangled shriek before she could stop herself. Horror filled her very being. Primordial gods? She thought in alarm. Primordial gods don't die, nor run from trouble. They also don't send in souls from the past into dreams. Oh, sorry, let me turn the music back on for y'all. And they also don't make foolish trials for mortals, nor do they bring people back from death, Zephyr replied, ignoring her shriek and everyone else in the room. You act like you know everything. That'll get you killed. Hi, Cam. Maybe open the damn web browser to resub. Thank you for the resub, though. I appreciate it. If actually doing my research gets me killed, then I would have been dead long ago, especially with your family. Light growled when she saw Zephyr take a step towards Belios. Her tail whipped to and fro, not liking how close the stranger was to her brother. My family has killed hundreds just by breathing, especially the other Thunderbirds, Belios had replied. Light's ears flicked. She was growing to hate Belios's parents. So you do have a brain. I thought you would have died too. I thought that would have died too when you died, Light snarled, her ears pinning back. Why must everyone bring up Balios' death? She bitterly thought to herself. Balios' death would forever be a sore topic for Light. She would forever regret not doing anything more for Balios. I should have shot Okul in the back of the head when I had a chance. Light quickly shook her head, bringing herself out of that spiral. She took a sharp breath and turned to look behind her. She saw Frog, who looked stressed but stayed hidden. Thank the gods. Then she saw Kron. No! Panic filled her. Her ears a twitch, a fresh wave of red lightning. Most were directed at Balios, but there was a stray bit. It was heading to Kron. No, no! She couldn't let them get hurt. She had to protect them, to make up for losing them in the first place. Light didn't think, didn't hesitate. She leapt in the way of the lightning, shifting into her human form as she did. She would not return Kron to their father with them being even remotely injured. Protect Kron was the last thought she had before she passed out. Her ears rang as she returned to consciousness. Slowly, she sat up. She looked around to find that she had been placed in a safe place to hide. She peeked around the corner to look at the fight and the others. She looked towards Frog, safe. She looked for Kron, throwing things, being reckless but unharmed. She looked towards the fight. She saw Balios and Waters going back and forth, attacking Zephyr, holding him down while the other hit him. She growled. She'd had enough of this fight. She slowly stood up, wincing slightly, but stayed standing. She took off one of her bracelets, letting it return to its original shape as a white wood bow with gold accents and runes. She stepped forward, pulling the bowstring back. Magic gathered from around her, pooling and condensing until it formed an arrow. She aimed it at one of Zephyr's spears and fired. The spear shattered and the arrow didn't stop. It went through the roof of the basement, through the wall of the tower, and up into the sky, where it quietly exploded with enough force to cause a miniature earthquake. Light filled everyone's gaze on her with a wide range of awe and shock. Enough, she said, her tone icy cold and left no room for arguments. That is enough. You, masked stranger, do you have any personal reason to attack Balios besides anger and hate created from the words of unknown liars and the sins of his parents? Has he done anything to you personally to warrant your wrath? Balios is the reason those who took care of me after the vanishing are dead. He deserves the same fate, again. Light snarled. She watched Zephyr leave. She sat down and sighed tiredly. At least he is gone now, Balios, she said, waiting for her brother to begin to scold her for her recklessness. That doesn't matter right now. Are you okay? Are you hurt? Did the lightning do any damage? Balios said. Light felt a pang of guilt when she heard the worry in his voice. Her ears lowered. I'm all right, she said, trying to wave Balios away. She winced as red and gold blood from her chest and stomach started to bleed through her clothes. Damn it, she grumbled. God's above, Light. Balios began tending to the wound, making a thin needle out of a dark spike and a string from vines. You're taking a break after this. I will make sure of that. Light stared at Balios for a while. Then she shifted into her dragon form and bounded through the hole and out of the tower. Light, get your dragon ass back here. You're still bleeding, Balios said as he made wings and flew after her. Get your dragon ass back.
I love that.
All right. Through chaos to home, and what the hell is going on?
Can I read those, please?
Yeah, of course.
Hell yeah. Thank you. Okay. Let's get this open. Alright. Through chaos to home. It was quiet. Milena had just left to go hunting and to gather supplies. There was no signs of Marana. Not a crow, black dust, or lengthening shadows in sight. No abnormally large spiders or centipedes. Kron was alone. Their chance was there, and they were going to take it. Kron adjusted their satchel attached to their belt, the stuff inside bumping off each other and shifting inside. The bottles of medicine fluid from the past few days were attached to their other hip. He had pretended to drink them, then spat the liquid back into the bottle. It made them feel much less tired, which was what they needed for sneaking out. Kron looked through the chests of each room, grabbing a crossbow and some arrows just in case. They didn't really know how to use a crossbow, but it couldn't be that much different from using a bow, right? Finally, they stood before the trapdoor that was the entrance and exit of the bunker house. They adjusted Croy's shield on their back, having adjusted the strap so that it'd sit in place. Then, with a determined breath and one final look around for good measure, they stalked to the trapdoor and opened it, crawling through into the muddy tunnel that somehow hadn't collapsed, the trapdoor closing behind them. They grunted in annoyance as they crawled further, their hands and knees sinking into the mud, making it harder to crawl forward. and it only got worse as they turned the corner, seeing water flowing through the opening. They were underwater. Great! Cron cursed, shifting about, a splatter of the mud landing on their head. They had to move unless they wanted to sink further. So, taking a bit exaggerated breath, they launched forward into the water, forcing themselves to swim through and into the cold, icy fluid, doggy paddling up, pushing back a lily pad as they surfaced. They mumbled in Gaelga as they swam to the edge, their teeth chattering and hoof feet scrambling over the high rocks as they passed over, until eventually they reached the edge and crawled up onto the edge. They laid on their stomach for a long moment before getting up, grabbing the back of their trench coat and wringing it out, water splashing onto the muddy grass and blue orchids that surrounded what they now realized was a pond, which they recognized. It was fairly near the old House of Ocular Enlightenment faction area. Cron, darling. Cron jumped, immediately spinning around and stumbling back slightly, pulling out the crossbow. It was Morana, standing with her hands clasped together, a concerned look on her expression. She took a step forward, tilting her head gently. What are you doing out here? You cannot be out wandering, especially not alone. You're still unwell. Cron quickly pointed the crossbow at her, loading an arrow in clumsily as Morana took another step forward, her arms outstretching as if offering an embrace. But she stopped, her eyebrows furrowing. What are you doing? I go home now. Thank for help, but I go now. Cron stated firmly, even with the nervous tremor in their voice. Morana was a goddess, after all. They hadn't interacted with any deities such as that before, but, again, she was a wise woman, right? She would understand. Croy worried. I need to go to him. If Croy was worried for you, wouldn't he have found you by now? Cron tensed at the goddess's words, growing a little confused at her words. Why was she doubting their friend when she didn't even know him? But she continued before Cron could ask, her strides long and graceful as she circled around them. That ghost friend of yours. I've seen what he can do and know what he is, and know what he was before he died. She gently placed her hands on Cron's shoulders from behind, making them flinch and quickly pull away, re-aiming the crossbow at her. He isn't a good person, Cron. I didn't tell you sooner because I know how much he matters to you. Don't lie. Please. Cron interrupted firmly, their hands tightening their grip, knuckles turning white. Their bodies still shook from the cold of the weather that clung to their clothes. They took another step back, their heel touching the edge of the pond. They didn't believe it. They wouldn't believe it. She knows nothing. She's trying to trick them. She has to be. I have proof, Hunt. I do. He burned an entire village. He killed the civilization that lived there, and I have footage. No, you don't. I not like being lied to. You have no proof. You don't. Cron snapped, firing an arrow right at Morana, which the goddess swiftly dodged, her stance still as graceful as ever. However, her expression faltered, hardening, and for a brief moment becoming cold. But she sighed, turning away, her voice still concerned and soft, but slightly off. If you insist, then, all right, go home. With that confirmation, Cron turned and sprinted, just about making it around the pond and into the trees when they heard Melena's voice, and then a bottle smashing. But they paid no mind. They needed to go home to Croy. But suddenly, something slammed into their back, launching them forward and down onto their front, knocking the air out of their lungs. They fought and squirmed, eventually managing to turn their head to see Melena, face contorted into a snarl, eyes flared, fangs bared, fingers lengthening into talons. Cron elbowed back before turning the other way, smacking the crossbow into the side of her face, making her loosen her grip enough for Cron to get out from under her. They stumbled forward, turning sharply just to see the water spirit lunging at them like an animal on all fours, which they just about got time to duck, feeling her go over them. They scrambled back the way they came, turning a sharp left to avoid the pond, breaking through the swamp's trees and out onto a beach. Cron didn't know what they were thinking. They just dove down into the water, desperately swimming along the edge of the land, trying to remember how he had seen other people swimming, trying to replicate it through their panic. But the further they went, the more desperate and tired they grew, the weight of the items on their person slowing them down. Just as they saw torches to follow, a pair of hands latched around their hooves, dragging them downwards. Kron coughed and splutters, bubbles squeezing their way around their mask, water plunging its way down into their throat, strangling them from the inside. Their arms flailed, their legs kicked, and they felt the arms of Milena wrap around their torso, ripping into their jumper, tearing at the forever-lasting injury on their chest, making it bleed into the already dark depths. I don't want to drown. There's nice things in the ocean. My body would poison it. Their bodies slowly went limp, arms slightly raised above them, hood rippling through the water, hair tangling around itself. Milena soon swam upwards, her grip not faltering, but not seeming to notice the blood she was drawing from someone who was supposed to be her friend. She dragged Kron's body onto the beach, standing over them as to pick them up, to take them back. Suddenly, Kron's arm swung, smashing one of the medicine potions against the side of Milena's head and getting off, coughing heavily and wheezily. When she tried to get up, they smashed a second one right on her face, glass shards scratching and making her slick skin bleed, making her wail and bury her face in her hands. And, with a burst of speed, despite their aching bones, Kron turned and ran towards the dark wooden walls of the old HOE faction area, crossbow discarded. They let out a muffled cry of frustration as he heard footsteps behind them, leaning forward to increase their speed, darting in through the opening. Breathing heavily with the very brief look around, they ran up to the giant statue of stone, jumping up and latching onto whatever they could grab on it, desperately scaling up. They reached the shoulder, curling up as tight as they could and hiding against the side of the head, waiting for it to be over. When what felt like an hour later, Kron finally uncurled himself and very slowly climbed down, shuffling down cautiously to the grassy ground, knees trembling with lingering adrenaline. They stepped back, looking up at the statue from the front, still trying to cough some of the remaining water out of their lungs. Was this Divinitas? Kron glanced around warily before giving an awkward bow to the statue, mumbling a hesitant thank you before turning to walk away, only to see Marana standing a couple feet away, there a concerned expression on her face one more. Kron, nope, nuh-uh, go away. Kron, dear, I am so sorry, please. I am being genuine. Milena, the poor thing, she is sick, just like you were. I am still helping her. Kron threw the final medicine potion at the goddess, only for her to catch it and make it disappear into swift smoke. Shite. You can go. I am not going to stop you, I promise. But know this, that if you ever feel unsafe, you are always welcome back. They stared at her for a long moment, eyebrows furrowing beneath their mask, their body trembling from the cold of their soaked clothes. But their shoulders seemed to droop a little, as if believing her. Kron murmured a quiet thank you before backing away, walking with a quick pace out of the swamp, back past the remembrance statue, following the path and river, lost in their thoughts, water prickling at their eyes as they absent-mindedly followed the memorized path back home, now actually able to see it. When they snapped back to reality, they found themselves in the Moontouch Kingdom, the god of Tales's, or Belios's, grave just about visible beside the chapel. Kron continued on, about to continue on their way, only to hear the loud voice of Waters just about carrying over the background noise that was the wind. They followed it warily, their pace picking up as they heard light too, until they reached a rather destroyed tower and wandered inside, down the stairs to the basement.
Kron is always getting into trouble, danger.
Kron,
It's not their fault.
What is he though? Bro, I'm gonna kidnap him and adopt him. Actually, kidnapping would be a wrong word. I'm gonna adopt that cat.
I mean, kidnapping is very common within the planet. I'm not gonna lie.
No,
Please do not kid.
I'm just saying though, it's very common.
It is
unfortunately.
Do not kidnap Kron. Croy might actually snap and kill someone of importance.
So
I'm just saying that now because you've seen the map from yesterday's stream. He's not.
That will turn into a nuke.
Wait,
yes.
What if I just offer Kron like a really safe home, and I just like tell them, oh, hey, you can stay here, you can rest, and they just never leave, like just on
Kron's
their
gonna
own will.
say, "Fuck you, I have a
Kron
bunker
needs
Against
to
their own,
fight
against their own will, you
Croy.
said?
What if I get Kron to my house, and then Croy comes? I'm like, oh hey Croy, yeah, here's your child. I have him at my house. You wanna come? And it's just Croy, and then just Kron just fucking running away. Just when Kron runs away.
CJ, did you want to read this one too?
Yeah,
All right.
okay. What the hell is going on? Kron hopped down from the ladder, water still dripping from their clothes, his trench coat buttoned close to hide their reopened chest injury. They turned around and spotted Frog and Waters, making them tense and quickly duck into a corner area, peeking through the chests that lined the walls surrounding them. What the fuck? Kron stared at as some random, very tall lady in a red dress was pulled into a portal. Belios, somehow alive by the way, chanting in front of it until the portal closed. They watched as light fell as Belios checked on her. They wanted to move forward and check on her too, to apologize and help, but they were wary of the people around. Then, out of nowhere, a fight broke out, a new person being the main target of the attacks. A mask obscured their face, and wings beat out behind them. There were flashes and weapons and magic being thrown this way and that, all the noise and brightness making Kron flinch and cover his ears through his hood. They darted back when a blast hit the chest stacked beside them, watching them crumble down, items spewing out everywhere. Their back pressed against the wall, heart thundering in their ears, breathing a little wheezy. They had no idea where to look, where to move, what to do. And before they could figure it out, a red flash went right towards them, only for light to jump in front of them, the flash hitting her instead. Waves of red ran up her body, her hair sticking up, her skin burning. Kron stared in horror, frozen to the spot as light fell down onto her side a moment later, smoking coming off her, unconscious as the battle raged on. No, not again. Not another person going to sleep and not waking up. She can't disappear, not like Zin did. Kron quickly hooked their arms under lights, pulling her over to the corner to keep her away from harm. Then they looked back to the tall, masked, winged person, jaw clenching. This bird bastard was not getting away with that. Scooping up whatever items were scattered across the floor, Kron hopped over the mess into another protected area, just behind where the bird bastard was. Then they took a giant thick book and threw it at the person, hitting them square in the back of the head, making them lose their balance a bit just so Belios could get a few hits. And Kron continued to do that, moving, climbing, or sliding to different spots and throwing whatever they got their hands on at this person. Tools, empty bottles, food, books, literal stones, hooks of mud, anything. And hey, it worked by distracting the person so that Waters, Belios, and now awake Light and some other person with a weird accent could get some more hits in on them. This was until a loud shatter echoed through the room, and Light's firm voice followed after, making everyone turn their attention to her, the fight ceasing. Kron stared in fascination, but also a little guilt and wariness. Enough. That is enough. You, masked stranger, do you have any personal reason to attack Belios beside anger and hate and created from words of known liars and the sins of his parents? Has he done anything to you personally to warrant your wrath? Belios is the reason those who took care of me after the vanishing are dead. He deserves the same fate. Again. With that ominous declaration from the stranger, they left, and everyone was left to recover. Kron, on the other hand, took it as a chance to try sneak out before Light or anyone would spot them and give out to them. They were relatively overwhelmed enough, they weren't too interested in getting fussed over or given out to. So, albeit clumsily, they snuck over the mess, reaching the ladder and quickly scaling up it, through the trapdoor and out of the tower, faintly hearing a conversation between Light and Belios behind them. They just about got to the church when a crash thundered behind them, making them curse and quickly dive into a bush just as a shadow passed overhead. When they peeked back out, they saw a flying creature with long wings flying overhead, 4 wings to be exact. The scales were dark, glittering in the sun, scars littered over them. They were huge, but mainly in lengthwise. Kron gasped gently, curiosity lighting up in their chest as they watched it continue to fly off into the clouds. But their attention was broken when they heard the voice of Belios and Waters calling out for light, making Kron look around about in confusion. But not wanting to be caught, especially lurking in a bush, they readjusted themselves, snuck out, and took off, climbing down the mountain and following the riverbank until finally, seeing this familiar, colorless, and lifeless forest, the flora gradually graduating into shades of grey. Finally, home.
I hope Kron takes a long,
Yes.
well-deserved nap.
I
You're gonna
literally
say that about
posted
your
in
work
the
this call,
OC
Freya.
thing.
You forgot I was in this call?
I forgot I was in this call.
I literally posted in the OC network thing, Kron saying, "Finally, I'm home. No
Oh.
more hospitals, no more poisons, and I'm going to sleep. Fuck you."
I saw that. I was like, oh, I can't wait to read that. I'm sure that's going to be a great document.
I don't know if I made a snarky remark to that or not, because I'd be like talking a lot of smack to a bunch of people on that app.
You haven't interacted with Kron at all, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I'd be talking a lot of mess to a lot of people.
Yeah, you haven't been talking with Kron or Croy at all. I saw some smack.
Oh, you have a backdrop, Freya?
I do. It's just black.
I don't know why I'm just now seeing this.
Yeah.
What is it? I
more
really like.
dungeon
What is it? For context, in the OC Sona, that's how I call it. I know that's probably that's the wrong name. In the OC Sona thing, me and Violence decided to just have a fight because we're like, wait, no.
That's so funny. All right, from Belios.
I won by the way, guys. I won that fight.
No, you didn't.
Sorry.
All right, we only have a few more things. 4 more things.
I'm probably gonna go now because
Yeah,
it is half
go to
past 2
sleep.
and I want to
Go to sleep.
So,
Good
alright.
night.
Good night,
Have a good
CJ.
rest of your day, guys. Bye
Good
bye.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Beliso. No. Belios ran into his home, still high on the anesthesia. But the moment he was in the middle of the room, he froze immediately, sensing danger. His mind got sober in a heartbeat, and he followed the sense down to the basement. Oh my gosh, we have so many longer documents. I mean, this isn't that long, it's 5 pages, but still. Upon opening the hatch to the basement, a sickly sweet smell came from below. Kathy. He knew it was her. The poisons she had made always had that sweet scent. Belios looked at Light as if warning her. Before he descended the ladder, the rest following behind, he maneuvered through the maze of chests before reaching the large open area. In the middle, Kathy was pouring a red liquid down onto the black stone, 4 candles in a circle that were lit. Belios immediately began rushing towards, stopping a few feet away. "What the hell are you doing, hag?" Belios yelled. "Oh, calm down, darling. I'm just doing a little spell. I don't have room in my house," Kathy said in a tone as if she wasn't making a spell to kill Belios. "Oh, please. You don't even live in that raggedy home. And that's a poison spell. I'm not an idiot. You used that on the shuttle." Belios was interrupted by Light storming in. "How dare you," Light yelled, walking past Belios towards Kathy, only to be pulled back by him. "How fucking dare you, using such a spell on him?" Belios had to hold her back from trying to get to Kathy. He saw that in her illusion on her mouth was slipping, revealing holes on the sides of her cheeks. "You both are so dramatic. This isn't going to kill you, just harm you slowly, to make sure you keep the end of your deal." Baleothrax bloodhound. Kathy looked at Belios with a smile. Belios' hands clenched into tight fists, and mist began to wrap around his hands. He glared at Kathy. "You don't get to use that name, Catherine." "Aw, is someone upset? Come on, Baleothrax. You know I always make sure those who make a deal always keep their word, especially those close to me," Kathy said as she began to step closer to the duo, only to be stopped by a field from the circle she had made. "You made your own doom, Catherine," Belios said as he let go of Light and walked towards the ritual and Catherine. The blood from Belios' arms that was slowly streaming down began to float off his arms and into the field. The liquid that Kathy had poured began to glow bright red. Belios began muttering things under his breath. Then Kathy's soul changed. It went from the old woman into a tall young woman, with wings and horns of a dragon and scales that went around her neck and shoulders. Her eyes became slit, still keeping that blue color, and her outfit changed from the farmer's outfit into a red dress. Belios didn't stop muttering. The wall behind began to glow red as a portal opened. Soon the field dropped, and Belios spoke in a calm voice, as if a storm were near. "Catherine Dragonis, I banish you from this realm of living as well as any others that my friends touch. You are dead, so stay dead." Belios looked up at Kathy, and soon a large burst of wind began to pull things into it. Belios stood still and Kathy was dragged in by vines. She didn't fuss about it, just went in it with a smile. The wind stopped, and Belios turned and faced Light with a sigh. He was slightly exhausted from the use of his abilities after a crash landing. He watched as Light stepped forward, but fell to her knees. He immediately ran to her, kneeling beside her. Light, you okay? Belios said in a worried tone, wanting to make sure his sister is okay. I'm fine. My condition merely caught up with me, Light said, her voice trying to be soft, but the rasp from the yelling was clear. Let's get you somewhere to rest, Light, Belios said in a surprisingly soft tone. At the portal, a tall masked man stepped through. He had massive wings and 3 spears floating behind him. He looked around the basement before his eyes locked onto Belios. Then he immediately sent his spears forward to attack Belios, only to be blocked by a sword from Light. Not my brother, you crazy bastard, Light snarled. Out of my way, woman, Zephyr said as he used the other 2 spears to slam her into a pillar, holding it there while he walked towards Belios with the final spear. Belios stood with his back still facing Zephyr. He saw Light through his peripheral vision. As he turned, he watched as Light shifted into her dragon form and lunged at Zephyr. Waters threw his trident before jumping up and kicking it, adding more force behind it. Zephyr raised his arm to block the creature, only to have his arm bitten. Zephyr noticed the trident aimed at him and made a spear fly up to knock it out of motion. He then let out a grunt before raising his other arm to her abdomen and shocking her with a strike of red lightning. Belios watched this, and the lights in the basement began to waver, as if a current of wind was blowing out the torches. His eyes began to glow a bright purple as shadows warped around his fists. Zephyr noticed this and made his spears fly at Belios, only for Belios to catch one and block the other 2 with ease. Then Belios continued stepping forward towards Zephyr, and mist began pouring out of the portal as if calling to Belios. Then spikes from behind aimed to stab Zephyr, but he took notice and turned and made a burst of lightning destroy the spikes. Waters moved back at the burst, jumping in front of Light, slamming his shield down to block her. He then pulled out his gun and fired 2 shots, both aimed at the head. Zephyr dodged the bullets, but they did manage to graze his mask, chipping it a bit. He turned to face Waters, but then he felt a stabbing pain in his leg as one of the spears went through it. He let out a grunt as he dropped to his knee, the leg itself slowly attaching itself back on. He turned and faced Belios. You act just like they said you would, the violent god, Zephyr groaned as he stood. Like who said, Bertie? Belios said with a snarl, finally looking at Zephyr. He noticed his sleeve was the sun-moon sigil for Aerosol. His fists clenched, his right claw digging into his skin, making it bleed slightly. Your gods, or what's left of them anyway. 3 of them dead, 2 of them injured, all because of you. Sethos said you would cause chaos in the future. Never thought she meant the death of the lesser gods, Zephyr said as the 3 spears floated back to him. Belios glared at him. You worship the same man who killed them, and they aren't lesser gods. Lesser gods are the primordials that sit on their asses watching the chaos like it means nothing. I can't help but imagine Light, Belios, and Waters as 3 rabid children biting Zephyr's ankles. That's so Primordial gods don't die, nor run from trouble. They also don't send in souls from the past into dreams, and they also don't make foolish trials for mortals. Nor do they bring people back from death, Zephyr said, not caring for the others in the room anymore. You act like you know everything. That'll get you killed, Belios said. A threat was easily noticeable in his tone. If actually doing my research gets me killed, then I would have been dead long ago, especially with your family, Zephyr said as he stepped closer to Belios. My family has killed hundreds just by breathing, especially the other Thunderbirds, Belios said. Clearly there was a past between the 2, at least kingdom-wise. So you do have a brain. I thought that would have died too when you died, Zephyr teased. Belios growled and ran back at Zephyr. The blood in his palm turned into his blade. He swung, but was thrown back as Zephyr let out another burst of lightning. Belios noticed the movement of Light. He immediately focused on her, only to see her block Kron, who had just entered from danger. The lightning hit her and made her go unconscious. Belios looked back at Zephyr and began swinging wildly. He wanted payback for this idiot who had harmed his sister, but Belios wasn't the only one attacking. Soon, random objects were being thrown around by Kron. Waters was also turning his anger towards Zephyr. Belios dodged the objects that were accidentally thrown towards him and continued attacking Zephyr. Zephyr sent a spear to block the objects as he dodged Belios' wild attacks, but he got annoyed and let his wings stretch out, having a wingspan of over 30 feet. He then let them flap. How big is this room? Sending a burst of wind that sent everyone into a wall. So many pests just for one man, Zephyr growled as his wings folded back. Trust me, not even I thought this many people would try to kill you, Belios said as he stood up. Zephyr noticed Light standing, making a bow from her bracelet. He aimed a spear at her as she made an arrow from magic. The 2 hit in the middle of the room. The arrow shattered the spear and changed direction, bursting through the roof of the basement into the first floor and through the wall, exploding in the air. From personal witnessing, not big. So not how do you fit his 30-foot wingspan?
Not
How
gonna
big
lie,
is that
yeah.
room?
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
How?
Can we get a measurement on the room, please?
Well, now I need to know. Low-key.
Oh, it's
Low-key
canonically
we do
Bill.
need to
Okay.
know.
Minecraft's not big. Canonically big. Canonically big. Okay. Zephyr watched in respect before turning back to Light as she spoke. That is enough. You, masked stranger, do you have any personal reasons to attack Belios besides anger and hate created from the words of known liars and the sins of his parents? Has he done anything to you personally to warrant your wrath? Belios is the reason those who took care of me after the vanishing are dead. He deserves the same fate again, Zephyr said before walking to the middle of the room. His spears that were left molded to themselves onto his wings, and the shards of the broken one flew to his head and made a crown. I would rather kill him without the pests. Zephyr turned to the hole and took to the sky, leaving without another word. Belios formed a spear from shadows and blood and launched it at Zephyr as he threw off, but unfortunately missed him. That fucking bastard, Belios said, stomping his foot on the ground. Belios watched as Light sat down. He went over and began looking at her for any wounds or scars, being the protective older brother. At least he's gone now, Belios, Light said, already knowing that she was going to get yelled at. That doesn't matter right now. Are you okay? Are you hurt? Did the lightning do any damage? He said. Worry was very noticeable in his tone. It was much softer than usual. I'm all right, Light said, obviously trying to make it as if being struck by lightning twice was nothing. Light looked down at her chest and stomach, revealing red and gold blood seeping out from a wound. Belios immediately began making a vine and other types of medical essentials to come to him as he began assessing the wound, mumbling something about Light not taking care of herself and probably putting her on bed rest. Gods above, Light, he began tending to the wound, making a thin needle out of a dark spike and a string from vines. You're taking a break after this, I will make sure of that, he said, looking Light in the eyes, his tone shifting from soft to serious. Belios barely got done when suddenly, Light, being the restless, idiotic child and not taking care of herself, shifted into a dragon and flew out the same way Zephyr did. Light, get your dragon ass back here, you're still bleeding, Belios said as he made wings and flew after her. Alright, I will say, this is great. I think for future events where multiple people are involved and you all write POVs, please try to either make it all in one document where it's, you know, from like a third person omniscient
Perspective.
or have everyone just what is a real struggle to read is reading the exact same wording over and over.
Okay, can I say a recommendation that I used to do with my friends whenever we would have this? You can do each person have a scene or like a specific lead up to that, and then have a master document.
It's
kind of
true.
like, oh hey, this is how me and him got here. This is how I got here, but kind of like built up to that, and then just have the master document that is made by everybody.
Yeah.
And just that one is like, oh, it gives like POV, like from again what Freya said, third person perspective. It gives every single POV and like
Yeah.
And
I don't even mind reading everyone's perspective of something that happens, as long as you give a different like internal perspective. For example, when Freya and Okul had their first confrontation, Freya's was very much, she really wanted to like help Okul, and then Okul rage baited her and she's just pissed, but still wants to help. Okul is just really stuck up, and her whole dialogue is basically like a false narrative of what happened. You know, Freya coward and blah, 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 you know, stupid, whatever. As long as you have very different perspective of what happened, then that's great to read. But reading the same events of like, especially for fight scenes like this, where it's like, they swung this thing and then they threw this thing and then they, you know, reading that like 4 times can get kind of tiring. This is all fantastic writing. I would just recommend condensing it, or like Mika said, have people in different sections. I think that would help a lot, because it just takes, you know, like an hour and a half to read. Yeah. Feel free to ignore the dialogue in my doc. The main important part is the start where Truffle leaves and the end where Chaos is taking notes. All right. Yeah, if there's, in the rest of this whole thing, if there's, like, the same dialogue, I probably will skip that just because we've heard it all already. All right. Frog nearly leapt towards Belios when he charged into his home, yelling, "My home!" at the top of his lungs. He had just run from the hospital all the way to the Moon-touched kingdom. Frog's legs were burning, and her mind was running with thoughts on how to flip he was so fast. Seeing Belios quickly dip into what seemed like a secret basement felt like Frog's soul was leaving her body. However, Light shot her a look, causing her to stop in her tracks. Light was serious about Frog hiding, but from what? Slowly, Frog descended the ladder, her hands gripping the wood tightly. There was a strange scent, sweet but weirdly icky. That single look from Light made her feel a strange sense of fear. Once she got down to the dark basement, she looked around, confused by the number of storage areas and twists and turns, trying to find a nice hiding spot. She passed the center where Miss Kathy stood. That odd feeling of fear settled in her heart. Of course, Miss Kathy is evil. Why wouldn't she be doing evil things in Belios' basement? Frog's eyes narrowed as she placed herself in a corner, eyes peering over the corner. Her hands flew up to cover her ears to muffle the sounds of Belios, Light, and Miss Kathy yelling at each other, taking a step back into her hiding spot. The yelling was becoming too overwhelming. Frog seemed to sink into the corner, covering her ears and shutting her eyes tightly as she heard things getting thrown around, yelling, and then silence. That moment of silence felt relieving, her hands slowly slipping from her ears. She poked her head up around the corner to see what had happened. Miss Kathy was gone. Belios was now facing towards Frog, and a huge masked figure stood where that odd portal was. They had 3 spears floating behind them, their attention clearly on Belios turned back. Suddenly, 2 of those spears struck towards Light's direction. Frog instinctively went back into her hiding spot, trying to make herself as small as possible. If only Frog could become an actual frog and hop out of this weird basement. The atmosphere in the basement changed oddly. The pillars and storage compartments in the dark room shook as attacks from Light, Waters, and Belios did their best to fight the masked figure. At one point, Frog saw something hit a chest, causing it to look like it exploded. Then Kron was there. Frog didn't even notice Kron get down here. With the attacks getting so close, Frog needed to move, and she tried to get towards Kron, only to see Light take a hit. Her eyes widened, tears forming in her eyes as she saw her friend seize up with what looked like red lightning shooting through her body. Frog tried to get up to help, but her body felt so heavy. All she could do was watch as Kron held Light up and brought her body to a safe area. Frog's heart was pounding in her chest as she watched Light's body rest motionless. Then more loud noises arose. Kron was throwing stuff at the big masked guy, trying to distract them. With Frog's attention now back at the fight, she sank back into her hiding spot. Then the ground rumbled around her, rubble from the roof crashing into the basement from a hole formed by Light. She curled up in the corner, covering her head before hearing Light's voice. "We already read this, so I will not read that again." Frog hesitantly looked over, her arms still protecting her head. Light did that? A huge hole in the ceiling? Then the masked figure flew out. Frog's eyes widened as she watched the figure fly away. It was honestly amazing. Frog had only ever seen a few winged creatures on Solace, and few actually flew. Just as Frog started to feel a bit better to move out of her hiding spot, Light turned into a huge dragon and flew out the same hole with Belios flying out after her. Frog struggled to stand, the anxiety in her body weighing heavily on her. Confusion rushed through her mind as she shuffled towards the ladder that she'd come down from. She muttered, "What the rat just happened?" as she went back up the ladder, not attempting to go after anyone just yet. She just wanted to go home. Yeah, this is a great example of what I'm talking about, with like completely different perspective here. Frog was just hiding the whole time and like peeked up every once in a while, but we don't get the multiple retellings of the same thing. Anyway.
Yeah, what the rat, man?
What the rat?
The rat.
Oh yeah, Freya, on the good news, the ballroom is done.
Oh, hell yeah. Does it need to be imported?
It's officially done.
At this point, might as well, because there's a lot of fucking flowers.
Yeah, that's fine. Because you first like
We are
copy the
putting it.
ballroom that's there already, right? And then
Yeah, I just
replace
imported it here.
yeah, that's fine.
Just as yeah.
If you can send me the world file, I can get that imported before the 9th.
Yay.
Nice. Alright, written log D151. This is from Waters. Written report to follow later. Written log C5 designation Waters. On the matter of Kathy's ritual. Too many people, too much risk within a small space. 3 to 4 combatants, 2 witnesses, 2 antagonistic forces, not simultaneous. Small space. A storage room with a bloody ritual in the middle and some sort of quick transportation portal, uninvestigated. Could have anything or anyone on the other side opening a whirlwind of risk for the potential of combatants beyond the visible frame. All unprepared. Multiple injuries / hazards present on the scene. Poison. Detected within the space prior to entry, and yet still multiple people entered the space before any full risk could be assessed. A new unidentified individual entered the space through the noted quick transportation portal and quickly began attacking Balios on sight. Telekinetic spear and electrical attacks on Balios Light. Electrical attack on myself when jumping in the way to shield Light from further injury. Worst of the injuries in Light and Balios. Light ran off before any treatment could be tended. I had to proceed in on-field medical attention on my own to everyone left within the space as the roof was blasted out by one of her attacks and further destroyed by her flying out in full dragon form. I need to make sure nobody was hit by falling debris or had dust in their lungs. Risk assessment, bad. Why did anyone let this happen? Sincerely, what the fuck? Director Ian Waters of SUNC. Yeah, that's the appropriate reaction. Sincerely, what the fuck?
At this point, yeah, that's like the only appropriate reaction that people can have. Like, cause what are you gonna do, bro? Like
Yeah.
at this point, like Frog is valid. Waters just want to protect their kid. Like, what do they want us to do, bro?
Alright, this is from Feather.
Will you greet me even now, when I'm covered in jam and cookie crumbs? Will
Hell
you
yeah. I love animation. What are the hands?
We love animation.
Gave up on hand. That's funny. The frog just be like, Hell yeah. Only 2 hours. Well, and 1 hour. Alright, then we have an announcement from Mika. I'm not going to say HP Omen blah blah blah. Omen from Echo. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
People of Solace, due to the recent arrest of Violence the Clown, we will be conducting a state trial for the crimes he is accused of. The court case will happen this Saturday. Who? Lux Solaris will be the judge, Mira Archer will be the prosecution, Zell and Violence will be the defense. How can you help? Please reach out to Mira Archer prior to the court case if you have a testimony or evidence. Any evidence sprung up during the court case will not be admissible. If you wish to be an anonymous witness, you will still be under oath and are required to write your testimony while in the presence of a judge. Only the judge will know who you are, unless the testimony is found to be faulty or intentionally deceitful. Please reach out to the Keepers of Solace for any questions. Lux is to remain impartial. Any tampering or bribery attempt will result in contempt of the court. We will be selecting a jury at this time as well. Please reach out to the Keepers of Solace if you are interested. All right.
Guys,
this
violence
stuff-
is innocent. I promise.
Sure.
Violence is innocent. Y'all guys have no proof. You have nothing on me. All I gotta say is good luck
You're
to
not.
y'all. I'm out of here. You know, I'm getting out of there. Anyways, continue. Sorry.
The next two things are going to be read. I might start up the Staff Friday thing, because I can't be there, which would suck. But maybe I can catch up another way. I think people like having the staff streams. And Tuesdays just, like, get too long. I cannot stream from 8 to midnight every Tuesday. So, yeah, we gotta figure it out. But if you are in need of training, aka Bagel, I don't know if he's actually free yet, I will be training Dear Bagel if you're a staff and need your training. Alright. I will see you all on...
Violence is innocent.
No.
I'll see you all Sunday, I think, for the third law discussion, unless we have the Friday stream. We'll see. Farewell.